Flashback, Episode 62. Farewell, Lessky. Hello, Lessky. We successfully infiltrated Soros's Lilydale Fortress, where we destroyed the Tapestry of Baal and obtained the Crown of Baal. We had escaped the fortress into the forest to the east of the compound. Well, we thought that we were free and safe, but we were wrong. We heard the hum and buzz of drones, of hundreds of flying drones flying toward us. And they were all armed with guns, of course. The sound of bushes and leaves being trampled at a crazy fast clip, it echoed throughout the empty forest. Emerging from behind us was Aaron Graywell, the demon. He had returned from the dead. He was another demon from hell. And robot hellhounds appeared with their eyes aglow with mounted guns and fierce steel teeth and cat-like extendable talons. They all looked unstoppable. The robo-dog hellhounds charged at us, trampling everything in their path, right through the foliage like there was nothing in their way. They were on a mission to get to us and to presumably rip us to shreds. Bob exclaimed in a panic, "No, no, 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 not again!" Taylor commanded, "Run! I will draw them away!" Sarah exclaimed, "I will stay with you!" She cried out, "Everyone else, go! Run! Get out of here! We cannot die here! The mission, it must continue!" I could not believe it. We had come all this way, only now to be overwhelmed by Skynet's robot Terminator army of razor-toothed, gun-wielding robotic hellhounds, of terrifying biped sentries with guns and rockets, and of flying drone swarms armed with guns. I could not see any path out of the situation. I declared, "We need another miracle." I looked to the sky and I pleaded, "We did what you asked." I screamed, "Ah!" as a desperate and final screaming plea for help, plea for God to help us. Out of nowhere, a sonic boom echoed throughout the forest, everywhere. The sky lit up and a small comet-like meteor came crashing down from the heavens. It exploded on impact as it struck the rooftop of the Lilydale Fortress. The explosion was massive, like a small nuclear explosion, suddenly coinciding with the meteor's blast. All of the robots, the robot hellhounds, the robotic sentries, the drones from flight, they all just stopped, dropped, fell, died dead. The hellhounds stopped mid-run. Some of the robo-dogs fell over, presumably from their own momentum and stride. It was like the meteor crash had triggered an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, a blast that fried and disabled everything electronic, at least everything electronic within its range. Demon Aaron Graywell, he paused, he looked all around, he looked skyward, and then he looked to the rooftop where the meteor had struck. Demon Aaron looked afraid, as if his very existence was in threat. He turned and he bolted, he fled far deep into the forest. Sarah looked at me and she mused, "That may have been one of our miracles as well." She said, "If it was, I am thankful. We may well have died otherwise." Sarah looked upward to heaven and she prayed aloud, "God, thank you. We obtained the crown of Baal. We destroyed the tapestry of Baal. We have stopped many assaults on humanity." Sarah prayed, "Lord, I am your servant. We are all your humble servants. We will strive always to pursue righteousness and to fight for truth and justice." Sarah prayed, "God, in your infinite wisdom, could you please release my father, Mr. Lessky, from his frozen imprisonment? Could you please save my father's soul from eternal nothingness?" Sarah pleaded, "Please, God, please." A flash of light appeared next to Sarah, and there stood, next to Sarah, was Mr. Lessky. But he was not Mr. Lessky per se. It was Mr. Lessky as an angel. Lessky had angelic wings, and he appeared to be joyous. Lessky smiled, and he explained, "My dear Sarah, I am okay." He said, "As you can see, I have been promoted to an angel. God has recognized my devotion and my faith." Lessky explained, "As an angel, I can continue to do the work that must be done to stop the devil Baal, and from his unleashing hell on earth." Lessky added, "and to stop the apocalypse." Lessky apologized. "I am sorry that I am forbidden from any direct aid or contact with any of you after this." He explained, "You see, Richard, you and your allies must endure. You must witness some of the most heinous and dark things in the world, and thus no aid or quarter may be offered to you. It is part of your test as the fulcrum of prophecy." Lessky said, "But I can help indirectly, and I will push the envelope. I will bend the rules wherever I can for you." Lessky smiled. "We can see from this moment there can be exceptions. After all, I am here, and I am directly here. I directly called down an EMP meteor, which seems to violate the so-called rules." Lessky grinned and said, "There are perks to being an angel. As example, I was able to call down that meteor from the heavens." Lessky said, "Unfortunately, the power of an angel seems to be proportionate to the celestial power granted by God." Lessky joked, "I am new, so my power is still growing, and so my meteor was not very large. But I foresaw Aaron, the demon Aaron Greywell, would sense heaven's wrath, and as predicted, he fled." Lessky's face stiffened, and he looked very serious as he looked and stared at me. He said, "I do have an important message for you from God." Lessky said, "Alas, you did not destroy the tapestry of Baal, as you believe and have surmised. You burned and destroyed a pyre of Baal, which is a piece of the worldwide, interconnected tapestry of Baal. The tapestry is made of many pieces that are called pyres of Baal. Each pyre of Baal is placed in a key location throughout the world, places where the veil that separates the planes of hell, heaven, limbo, and mortality is the thinnest and the weakest, making those areas much more easily pierced. The pyres of Baal act like cell towers. They connect with each other across the world. They operate like a network of evil that shares and draws on each other's power." Lessky congratulated us and said, "By destroying this pyre of Baal, you have freed thousands of trapped souls from the bonds of the tapestry of Baal here in Lilydale." Angel Lessky said, "Your next mission quest for God is to free more trapped souls by destroying more pyres of Baal, and to destroy the crown of Baal with the anvil of creation and destruction." Angel Lessky said, "I recommend you start in Prague to destroy the crown of Baal with the anvil of creation and destruction." He then said, "And you should head to Vatican City to obtain its ancient records that disclose other places in the world that have a thin veil separating the planes, much like Lilydale had a thin veil. Lessky concluded, "For now, that is all that I can do." Lessky cautioned, "Never, never, ever lose your faith in humanity or in God. May God bless you always." Katie stammered, interrupting Lessky, and asked, "What about the mobsters? What about those soldiers, those men and women who sacrificed their lives for us and for God and for our mission?" Katie lamented, "They can't just die and not be recognized or something for their loss, their sacrifice, right?" Lessky looked to Katie and he spoke, "You are right to worry for their souls. Many of them led very destructive lives, and in some cases, even cruel lives. But no one is beyond redemption. Everyone has a chance to right their wrongs." Lessky spoke with authority. Absolution is available to everyone through God's grace. Were it not available, one misstep, were it unforgivable, would certainly ensure many more missteps without recourse to redeem oneself. Lessky grinned a little darkly. The phrase, "If I'm doing the time, I might as well do the crime," epitomizes this point. If someone feels there is no path to redemption from a sin or a misstep, they may surrender entirely to darkness and forever do evil unto others. And so know that redemption is and will always be available to everyone, always. Lessky continued, "Many of those lost soldiers of the mafia, they were Catholic, and they were devout to God, despite their questionable choices and actions in life. Angel Lessky declared they will receive recompense and special consideration for their sacrifice, as they now have an elevated status for doing God's work. Angel Lessky noted if they sought forgiveness for their sins as they were facing their final moments, that too will go a very long way to offset and forgive their sins as well." Katie smiled and said, "Thank you. You are an angel. I can't believe I'm talking to an angel." She exclaimed, we have a friend who is literally an angel." And without any words or warning, Angel Lessky just faded out of sight. Although we may not see Lessky again, we were all relieved that he was rewarded for his lifelong faith and commitment by being promoted to an angel for God. We had our next mission quest for God. We were to destroy the crown of Baal and rescue souls from the tapestry of Baal, its network of pyres of Baal. We were empowered knowing that we were doing God's work.